Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Today I'd like to talk about reconnecting with nature. I'm out here walking, beautiful day, and observing all of this green, seeing the squirrels running around, the birds chirping, bugs are flying around, the bees are doing their thing. I'm seeing all these wildflowers growing, smell really nice, and walking on these dirt trails. And then look at this as I come around here and I look at this water flowing here in the river. Sometimes you'll see the ducks down there doing their thing. Sometimes a male and a female duck, or the geese as they just float leisurely right on down the stream. Not a care in the world, just doing what naturally comes to them. And I got to thinking how winters in many places around the country can be so long. They're dreary. And even though we may not get as much snow as we used to in some parts of the country, the winters can still be long and cloudy and dreary and gray and depressing. And springtime is such a welcome time when things start to thaw. The robins start coming out and you see them bouncing around in your front yard. You start hearing things and seeing things growing that shows that spring is around the corner. And I can remember as a kid, that's when we used to really get a lot of snow and the icicles forming, and you can hear the ice thawing and dripping. And on the south side of the house, the dandelions would even start to grow, even with snow on the ground. And it was such a welcomed sight after a long winter. Even though we had fun as kids playing in the snow, I always looked forward to then spring and then summertime. And the nice thing about this time of year, or spring, or I guess I should say seeing all this green, is that in the winter things are dormant, the trees are barren. But one thing I try to remind myself, that every year this stuff grows like clockwork, and that nature doesn't fail to disappoint us. And it's just the nature of things, the normal cycle, the life cycle, and it will continue to do so after we're gone. Trees continue to grow, flowers still bloom, birds still flying, doing their thing. As I was walking, I was thinking about different things, and you'll hear people say, oh, a good way to relieve stress is to go for a walk. If you're angry, just remove yourself from the situation and just go for a walk and cool down. And I think that's some good advice. And this is, to me, this is therapeutic. It's very therapeutic to be out here walking amongst these trees and seeing nature do its thing. And as I was walking, I realized that our bodies are designed to be exerted, to be pushed, to be pulled, to carry a load, to work. That's the way our bodies were made. We weren't made to be doing all this sitting in these concrete jungles and going to these jobs, sitting in a cubicle for hours, pounding on keyboards, staring at a screen. To go home, you get into these tin boxes with rubber wheels and you go through the traffic, many places stressed out, going to work stressed out, coming home. They get their mail, go home and sit in their house just to do it all over again the very next day. But I think even though we have to do that for work and for jobs in this modern society, it's good to get out when you can and reconnect with Mother Nature. Hear that? That wind blowing? And thankfully I don't have allergies. I know a lot of people, it bothers them, but thankfully it doesn't bother me. But I think this is where we're from. This is where we belong, out here. And even though, yes, we need our homes, and I appreciate air conditioning and heat and all of that and a roof over my head, but I think we have to leave the cabin, get out from underneath the teepee, the wigwam, the shelter, and get out here on our own 2 feet. Which brings up a point where bipedal humans, we are bipedal, unlike other creatures that move around on all 4s most of the time. And so this is what we were made for, to walk. There was even a book called Born to Run. Some people don't like running, which I understand, but you can appreciate that title, as man had to run and hunt and gather and fight, warring tribes and feuds. So I think it's good. A lot of people this time of year getting their gardens ready as they stick their hands in the dirt, which I think is therapeutic as well. To smell the dirt, put your hands in it. One of my favorite things to grow is potatoes, and pulling those out of the ground, harvesting them. Oh, it's amazing. When you can, that earthy smell as you pull them potatoes out of the ground that you grew. Sometimes I'll even walk in my yard barefoot, bare feet in the grass, just to take that layer, get those shoes off, get the socks off, and just get those feet planted on the earth. Just connection, human to that globe that's spinning as we float around in space, that terrestrial ball that we all live on. And I'll walk around just completely barefoot. Neighbors probably look at me funny, what's he doing? But that's okay. So that's what this video is about. At least here where I'm from, we have many places to walk, so many parks, walking trails, biking trails, places with ponds and river views like this. Look at that. Here's the other side. And that right there is an old railroad built in 1907. And that moved iron ore back and forth. It didn't haul passengers back in the steel mill heyday. And it moved steel products all across that rail right there. A little history as we walk and talk here. And so I hope that you have places like this where you're at, and you can just get out and get and reconnect with nature. Even if it's just your neighborhood has sidewalks, you get out of your house and you're able to walk down a sidewalk, that's good too. Just simply moving. We're not meant to be sitting around as much as we do now, at least in my humble opinion. I can't sit too long. I've got to move. I got to get moving. And it does relieve stress. I think even if you have a pet, people walk their dogs. I don't have a dog. I see a lot of people do that. And I think that's a good thing when you and your dog, and you can go out and walk, and the dog enjoys it too. And the interesting thing I notice with the dogs, I see people driving up with their dogs in their cars and the windows cracked a little bit. It's like the dog's first time going to the park. So excited. Oh boy, we're going to the park. Oh my. That's the nice thing about the dogs. They most certainly don't take it for granted. And then they're always happy to see you. Most of the dogs. They never meet a stranger. They don't care who you are. They'll greet you. Which brings up another point. I've walked in neighborhoods and the dogs will bark at me. And oftentimes humans will never say a word to me. They won't say hi or greeting of the day. I try to at least say hi to people as they walk by me. I try to remember that perhaps that person, that might have been the first hello that person heard all day. And I think sometimes we may not realize that. And when I see the dogs, I'll either yell back at the dog and say, hey you, hey buddy, I see you, I hear you barking at me, as they acknowledge me as a human. And I think a human may not say hi to me, but at least that dog is saying, hey, I notice you, and I'm just gonna give you a shout out and acknowledge you. Or perhaps they're saying, I wish I can go walk with you, mister. I don't know. Random thoughts. as I walk. Anyway, enough of that. So wherever you are, whatever you do, get out there, feed the birds, fill up the bird bath, put that bird feeder out. I believe that it may be a small thing, but I think it could lead to some big things in the universe. And so that is all. I think I've rambled on enough. So get out there, enjoy it, get some fresh air. Talk to you later.